Hey there. Welcome to the New You Life Pulse podcast, where members go to get a pulse on the heartbeat of our incredible community. New You Life is the hormone health company developing transformative products that challenge the way you age. The Pulse features rising stars, leaders in the field, and insights from our leaders at headquarters. Each Pulse podcast is designed to help you become the best version of yourself by keeping you dialed in, inspired, and motivated. Are you ready to be the best you? Now, let's listen to the Pulse of New You Life.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Pulse Podcast. On the Pulse Podcast, we really like to get into the thick of things when it comes to hormone health. And today, I'm very honored to have our SAB president, Rachel Cabrera. Hi, Rachel.
Hi, Ellie.
And we have an esteemed member of our scientific advisory board, Dr. Stephen Legate. Hello, Stephen.
Hi, everybody.
So, we've been around this all our life, us three, and we see a shift happening. It's more of a paradigm shift happening with people's health and their relationship with food. I want to kind of just get right into this. How important, Rachel, is that relationship with food correlate with somebody's health?
So, the evolution of weight loss management has been a topic of interest for so many years. And I feel like, now more than ever, we have so much data and literature that shows there's these, the statistics of, 69% or so of our population in the U.S. are overweight or obese. Ages 18 to 44, there was a new statistic that came out that said 50% of that age population are at least insulin resistant. And, diabetes, weight management, obesity, all of these things that, are created with the discussion of weight, really can impact our overall health in so many ways. So, it's so important to, have this discussion today and really establish, a foundation of understanding, the benefits of really creating a healthy lifestyle. And when we talk about lifestyle, it's the journey of our life, really creating a foundation of health with diet, with exercise, with, all of the things that are involved with, creating that journey for a healthy, optimizing our healthy lifestyle.
I love that. And it's your best more. When we talk about, calorie intake and we talk about calorie deficits, you've coached so many, dancers, athletes, everything, and the importance of the proper nutrition for those people. Can you just give a little brief synopsis of the importance of eating healthy and what the long-term impact that may be on someone?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, I'd like to say that our relationship to food and weight management is all encompassing, right? There's no part of your life that process does not touch. So it's incredibly important. And I also want to say that I think that it's possible to have this discussion about the negative effects of obesity and the obesity epidemic that Rachel just referred to, without having any judgment attached to it, that there's no fat shaming or anything like that going on with it, that there's just some very objective consequences, shall we say, to the obesity epidemic and having out of control weight. And from my perspective, it particularly pertains to musculoskeletal health and the obvious, I think, effects that uncontrolled weight have and that I see on a daily basis every day in practice. I like to tell patients, imagine if they came in and I handed them a 50-pound backpack and said, here, go out there and walk around in this. All day long, they would say, you're a crazy chiropractor. I'm not going to do that. But that is effectively, when we carry the extra weight, that's what we're doing. And it has very serious impacts to our musculoskeletal health. When it comes to the nutritional side of that, as it pertains to athletes and the dancers I've coached and right now, actually supercross riders as well. That is our fuel. That is the gas we're putting in the engine, and the performance is going to be directly related to that. Absolutely. So it's critical, and there's no part that the weight management doesn't touch in our lives.
Absolutely. I love that. We understand as food is fuel. And if we're not putting in the proper fuel, because the way I look at it is our bodies are fine-tuned Ferraris. The problem is that we're putting regular unleaded gas in these fine-tuned Ferraris, and we're not seeing the performance that we can have, not only energy-wise, but neurologically, right? Circulatory, joint impact with the extra weight. I don't think people realize how much it weighs on your hips, your knees, your ankles, your feet, because gravitational pull pulls all of that, right?
Yeah, compression of discs, absolutely. See it all the time, and it's necessary too to not just say the fuel for what we put in, but the balance too. The simplest way I explain it with patients is supply and demand. It's all about supply and demand. And, that's where Tri-MLT comes in so effectively, is helping to control that supply side of the chain.
There you go. And that was a great segue. Thank you for that. So, Rachel, we know that Tri-MLT is a unique, powerful weight management tool. That the ingredients, of course, when we go to put in specific ingredients, Alexi makes sure that he does his due diligence in putting in the proper nutrients that are going to help people attain their goals. But Tri-MLT is a little bit different than some of the things that we see out on the marketplace. Can you talk about the difference in what we've seen in the heavy caffeinated or stimulatory type of products compared to what Tri-MLT is?
Tri-MLT, I think is such a unique blend. And I think that's what makes it so different than what is on the market, in the supplements and in the nutraceutical world. Because like you said, caffeine, green tea extracts, we could go on like different types of stimulants. Those things are ingredients that really do just like kind of rev up metabolism. Sometimes it doesn't make people feel good, or, too anxious or nervousness, or they don't sleep well. It kind of interrupts their, normal kind of routine in a lot of different ways. And really some of the stuff on the market too, it's a quick fix, but you end up not having a good outcome as well. So it's like, these imbalances that it creates in the body. And Tri-MLT has a very unique blend of supporting healthy leptin, ghrelin, and PYY hormones in the body. And it really helps, create this opportunity to curb appetite, to help reduce, caloric intake. It helps also promote hormone support. So it really helps with your weight management in the long run. And, with that, it's not aggressive in the body. It works, it helps work slowly and naturally with the body, and works with the body's chemistry versus trying to mimic something the body does. It works with the same chemistry of what the body does. So you have a lot more opportunity for better outcomes, and overall creating opportunities and it actually, develops opportunity to not only, create healthy relationship with food, but to also create this healthy lifestyle incorporating in the, long run. So in the, day-to-day, creating your day-to-day eating habits, it's, maybe I don't want to eat that whole pie, I can eat a piece of pie, or instead of, craving things that, you want to just eat a lot of, it actually starts helping you create that relationship with food, to eat in moderation, to eat healthy, and really have that success with developing weight management that you need to, and weight management for everybody is different. It's a different what you see in a textbook sometimes, or what we say, oh, it's supposed to be, you're supposed to be this weight. It doesn't necessarily mean that needs to be for you. So you need to feel healthy with what you're doing in your day-to-day basis.
I love that. It's super comprehensive as well. Stephen, we just heard Rachel talk about the relationship of food and then what we intake on a daily basis. The only way I know that you can lose weight is to expend more calories than you intake. That is what they call calorie deficit, right? Can you explain the importance of leptin, ghrelin, and PYY, and maybe just touch on some of the factors that enable you to create that relationship with food?
Sure. Well, I guess we should start by talking about the leptin and the ghrelin and the PYY and what they are and what they do, right?
Yes.
I always remember from school that the ghrelin, we memorize ghrelin by when you're hungry and your stomach growls, we called that growlin. So we connected growlin to ghrelin, and that's how we remembered. So yes, that is produced in the gut, and that stimulates the appetite when the stomach is empty. So that's produced in the gut, and that is the growlin. That's stimulating appetite.
Yeah, we'll call that the growlin.
The growlin, exactly. Everybody can remember when they're trying to explain the product to connect it that way. And the leptin, that's produced in the adipose tissue, and that is the one that's helping with satiety and feelings of fullness and so on. And that's what Tri-MLT is helping to support. And the peptide YY, I actually have a study that I pulled up. Ellie, I like to look at this.
Yes, I know you do. So do I, Stephen.
Please. The latest one I have is the role of peptide YY in appetite regulation and obesity. I can encourage everybody, if they want to bore themselves to tears, to go pull that one up. But the PYY. Actually, Rachel, do you mind if I hand this one off to you on the explanation of PYY?
I can help with the PYY. So we understand that when you're in a calorie deficit or you have an empty gut, PYY is released into the system. PYY actually helps you with hunger management. Not only does it do that, but it can aid the body at turning a white visceral fat into brown fat, which then can be utilized as energy. So when we talk about these hormones, they work very harmoniously together. You have hunger, you have satiation, and you have the conversion of those fats being turned into energy. So when all of those three happen and create a better relationship with your intake of calories, what you're doing is you're really aiding somebody with the success of being in a calorie deficit, which will aid them in helping get to their goal. But, on top of the hormones, we still have what MLT's base story is: the metabolic, the lipotropic, and the thermogenic reactions, right? These are all processes, natural processes that the body has. And as we start to age, these processes tend to slow down, kind of like everything else does. Stephen, can you talk about the importance of metabolism, lipolysis, and thermogenic reactions when it comes to transformation?
Right, and thank you, by the way, for explaining that, as I got lost in my study there. The lipotropic effect is everything when it comes to losing the weight, right? When our liver kicks in and it starts to draw from the adipose tissue in order to burn that to produce glycogen and glucose for the body to use, that is the key mechanism in losing the fat in weight loss. I'd like to go to the inulin, actually, that's in the product, because I did try this, and my wife and I tried it, and she loves it. I'm bringing her a box when I leave here today. But I find that the people are probably wondering, well, how does it do that? how does the supplement do that? And I like the inulin in it because, as we know, it is as a soluble fiber entering the body, creates that gel in the gut that helps to suppress the ghrelin hormone and elevate the leptin hormone in the plasma. And so it gets up to our hypothalamus, and it gets to that part of the brain that says, "Hey, I'm not hungry. I'm feeling fine." So you're able to then tip the balance between the supply and demand that we were discussing. And now you can start to burn and let your body kick in burning the fat stores, which produces that leptin in the plasma and so on, and therefore have less caloric intake. And that's really, in my mind, how it works, that we're tricking in essence our body into believing that it's full, so that we can flip that ratio of supply and demand.
I love that. And there's another benefit to that as well. When we talk scientifically, we talk about insulin usage and insulin resistance, right? Where inulin has been shown in studies to help both in the, usage and insulin resistance, meaning that the cells are going to accept the glucose and actually manufacture that energy as well. So there's a dual fold with inulin in there. But we use other key ingredients like fructoxanthin, which is a seaweed algae fiber that's super healthy and gives you all your trace mineral aspects to things. So, when we talk about comprehensive, this is what we talk about when Alexi puts something together. He thinks of all directions of that when it comes to transformation. Now, Rachel, in your practice, you see a lot of people, and a lot of these people share these questions with you, like, how do I get to my healthy point? How do I get back to my healthy weight? Especially postpartum, post-delivery, or
menopausal women.
Yeah, or even peri or menopausal women. MLT being a benefit for those women.
I think MLT, tri-MLT could be a benefit through almost every stage of a person's life, actually. From, we start aging, what is our age? 25, 30, when our hormones start to fluctuate, into perimenopause, which perimenopause can be an 8 to 10 year process before a woman even goes into menopause. On a daily basis, I can tell you at least 5 or 8 times a day, women come in, and men too, but it's more, but women come in saying, oh my gosh, it's the story of my life, my weight. I've plummeted. I can't move the scale. I'm doing everything. I'm eating healthy. I'm exercising, and my weight doesn't move. And it becomes so frustrating to the point where it's starting to impact their emotional health. It's impacting their body image, lots of different things. And the questions are, well, okay, let's get to the root cause. What's happening? What's not happening? And I always, kind of start out with the conversation of food is a tool, movement is medicine. And even if you're exercising or you're trying to do the right things during the day, I said, okay, well, if you're going to the gym or you're working out or whatever that movement is for you, what are you doing the other 22, 23 hours of the day? What is going on a daily basis? And then they stop and think like, oh my gosh, I didn't think about that. I work out, I do this, but then I don't, what they're doing the rest of the day, what's their stress level? How are they sleeping at night? Hormonally, where are they? Are they in a place where they just had a baby and their hormones are going through changes, or in that perimenopause, menopause phase? Or even men, where are they shifting in their hormones or in their, in their life cycle as well? And TriMLT, I think, could be a fantastic tool to give them the opportunity to reestablish some balance and the ability to really build another relationship with food again, and really build that relationship with a routine during the day. So I think TriMLT, it's not aggressive. It's very easy to take. It's, you could throw it in your purse. You could throw it in your pocket. Like, it's very easy to have with you when you need it. And I think that it can really be utilized in all of these scenarios that we've been talking about through the lifespan of wherever a person is. And it really can help them get over that hump a little bit, and really, but in a very good way, where they're able to reintroduce eating habits and relationships with food back in that, healthy way, without, struggling to get on some diet plan, it not work well. And it's like that circle of events where then they fail, and then they're, in a bad pattern again. So I think it really helps reestablish the opportunity to get in a healthier pattern.
I love that. Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I could just dovetail with that. You sparked my thoughts on intermittent fasting, and I'm a big proponent of intermittent fasting.
Me too.
Most human beings can get by with a lot less food than we eat, and in fact, there have been many studies done that show, for instance, in mice that were fed less, they lived longer, they had less rates of cancer, et cetera, et cetera. So, and I'm a fan of doing intermittent fasting in the morning time, and then I'll start eating at lunch. And so I find where the Tri-MLT really helped, and I know it recommends to take before a meal in the morning typically.
It's either or. Yes,
either or. But personally, I was using it instead of breakfast. That's how I chose to use it, and it helped me to get through that intermittent fasting time with less mental anguish due to the desire to eat more bacon until I got to lunch. So it was very effective. It was very effective in that way to assist with intermittent fasting.
Yeah, and I've heard that through a couple of people that, and then people are concerned, with under 50 calories, with under 1 gram of sugar and 5 grams of total carbs, actually 6 grams of total carbs within that. Do you feel that will take you out of fasting?
No. And hopefully people understand that they are their energetic usage in the morning hours up until noon. They're working off their glycogen stores from what they ate the night before their dinner. So there's plenty of glycogen to go around, and only having 50 put in is not gonna trigger that in any way negatively. I would say, because you're working off your glycogen stores that are in your circulation and in your liver from the night before.
That was probably my number one question that I get from the field. Well, will it break my fast? And I've answered it the same way you are, being very low sugar, very low caloric. It's not going to re-release and get sugar introduced back into the system. So it's not going to take you out of that fast.
Yeah, right. And again, I go back to the inulin and the sense of fullness that allows your brain not to pay attention to the growling.
I think it also helps you set up the success for your intermittent fasting process to be better too, because if you're doing it, like Dr. Leggett, you're doing it in the morning during your fast, it kind of sets you up for a better eating pattern for the rest of the day when you get back, when you get out of your fast into your eating pattern for that time of the day too, right?
Yes. And then dinner it's more than fueling. It's a big social event, right? And it ties into the emotional component of weight management. And by going through that intermittent fasting process and being assisted with it, you're able to, I guess, have a big guilt-free dinner and enjoy that time, knowing that you've built up the credit from before.
And, I have so many patients that will talk about their intermittent fasting, and they go, and where they fail is they do great during their intermittent fasting. And then when it's time to eat, they become so hungry that then they fall off the track. And I said, okay, we need to restructure that a little bit. So I think that's where the Tri-MLT can be very helpful for those types of patients too, who really want to be successful for intermittent fasting, and they're a great candidate for it. It's just that they need that little structure in the morning, I think, where this would be a benefit for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. What I really have a hard time with is that when I've gone previously into calorie depletion, it's a battle of mentally, right? It really does. And you're trying to portion out your meals. You're trying to get the proper macros, that coincide with what your goals may be. But there's always that little thought in the back of your head. Yeah, I can eat a couple more calories. Yes, I could do. If I eat a little sugar now, I'm going to the gym. I'm going to burn that off, as excess glycogen to feed my muscles.
Yeah, it's got to be said. It's got to be said that any supplemental tool will not work for weight management unless it's combined with the content of what you eat and the exercise that goes along with it. There's no magic bullet. You've got to have those factors involved, but they can be made easier with supplemental tools.
Right.
And what this does. Go ahead, Rachel.
I think that's such a huge conversation I have daily with patients too, is that, these, like something like try MLT, it's not the magic wand where it's just going to make you lose weight and it's going to be the only thing that works. Like you have to it's a tool that helps you create a better lifestyle. And that's the goal. Better eating habits, better, endurance with your workouts, better recovery time, and helping you feel better overall. And it really is a tool to help you get through that success and continue that success.
Yeah. And when people realize that the exercise process, which is lipotropic, right? It's breaking down the adipose tissue, is putting that leptin into the system. And that leptin is assisting you in suppressing or assisting you with those feelings of satiety and so on, and suppressing the ghrelin. And also I would add in that, anything you do for more than a month becomes a habit, right? So if people,
I love that.
Anything, if they can persevere and go through the hunger pains and have something that helps them with the hunger pains, once they get to that point of time, now it becomes the lifestyle change that you were talking about.
Absolutely. And then, with today's society, we understand that, we're on the go. All of us are, right? But when we go down to, let's say, a fast food restaurant, I don't think we understand how many calories we're intaking with just a simple burger, fries, and a soda. I mean, you're looking 12 to 1,500 calories in those meals, when usually that should be about your daily intake of the items, right? Well, depending on your body type, depending on your activity level. But as your average person, I mean, 1,500 to 1,700 calories is very easy to sustain, all your body compositions, everything like that. But people don't understand that when you want to transform or lose that body fat and sustain your muscle mass, we have to switch a couple mechanisms in our body that'll allow us to have better choices and a better relationship with food. I always talk about relationship because it's a term that makes us understand, we have a relationship with people, we have a relationship with work, our habits, but we don't think about our relationship with food, which is probably the biggest relationship that we have in our lives, right? Because that is the determining factor for our health, one of the main determining factors. So when I talk about relationship, I want people to understand that the importance of having that relationship with food, being able to make those choices that are going to help them get to their goals. And speaking of goals, I wanted to talk to you both about, here we are in 40s, me upper 50s, and there's parameters that I put on myself when it comes to training. I can ride my motocross bike, but I can't ride it like I was 30, right? And I think people have to understand that as we get into this age category, there's certain parameters that we need to adhere to make sure that we get to our goals safely. Rachel, can you talk maybe about some of the parameters that women, let's say, going through menopause should have, and some of the simple exercises like walking or riding their bike can help them get to their goal weight, along with utilizing try MLT to create that better relationship with food?
Yeah, exercise is such a difficult subject to sometimes discuss with patients because, I think in society, we think about the gym. The gym is the place where we have to go and work out, and that's where we're going to lose weight. I think the majority of the population really aren't gym people, right? So many of my patients come in and they're like, I don't like going to the gym. I get distracted at the gym. That's just not for me. And I said, okay, well, what is movement for you? What kind of exercises do you like to do daily? And when we talk about exercise too, like we talk about relationship with food, we have to talk about a relationship with exercise. What is it that you enjoy doing and you feel like it encourages you? You want to, it's almost like you crave it. Just like you crave food, you want to crave your workouts too. So is that going for a great walk? Is that getting on your Peloton? Is that, doing weightlifting? What is your movement? And, once I approach that discussion with them in that way, then it sparks this like, well, I love going for a walk every day after I get off work. It like releases my energy. It gives me a clear mind. I said, okay, how many days are you walking a day or walking a week? And they'll say, okay, I'm walking maybe 3 or 4 times, but even that I'm doing 3 or 4 times a week, I still may not be, losing weight anymore. I said, okay, so you've plateaued a little bit. So instead of just going for your walk, your 3 or 4 times a week, why don't you add some ankle weights or something a few times extra during the week where it kind of breaks that plateau that maybe your body's in. So really talking about exercise with patients is really getting down to the core of what they enjoy, that they're going to look forward to, that's going to motivate them and really help them, maintain and even increase their opportunity to lose weight. So something like Try MLT, especially if it's that end of the day workout where you need a little extra energy, you need a little bit more, motivation, because you're like, I've been moving all day long. But, that is definitely something, MLT is something that can give you that extra endurance and help you with recovery, feeling better with your workout. And I think that, with movement, people have to just kind of create that relationship as they do with food, just like we're talking about.
Yeah. Can you add on to that, please?
Oh, just to say that was so good. Yeah, I absolutely agree. You have to love what it is, or you're just not going to do it. And that's how human nature works. So that's perfect. And also, thank you, Ellie, for the 40-year-old reference. I'm up there at 56. So I appreciate that. But yeah, I'm experiencing that too.
You got the 2 old guys on here, so
yeah. Everything that testosterone is reducing. There's just outpacing it. And motivation goes with that. Muscle mass goes with that, and so on. And just also to tie in what Rachel was saying right there, it's a wonderful tool at the end of the day, because for people with a standard work schedule, that's often the only time you have available. And it's really hard at the end of the day to get the motivation to go. So a supplemental tool that has certain ingredients in it that are going to help facilitate motivation is another great way to use it. I know we were talking about using it in the morning and with the intermittent fasting, but also as that assistant and motivational tool at the end of the day to be able to work out in a practical sense. That's something you love.
And with that, I just wanted to add too, when they're working out at the end of the day and releasing some of that stress, it helps their sleep. It helps, and we know the role of sleep and how important sleep is on, re-energizing the body and reestablishing balance, of what the responsibility of sleep is. At the end of the day, that helps a lot of people sleep better at night too.
I love that. And I know I say I love that a lot, but you guys are bringing such poignant points to this conversation, and in this podcast that I think people are going to really learn about the education of what Try MLT and how to use it properly for them to attain their goals. So just one last question before we sum up. Is there anything else do you think that you would like to contribute to what we're saying to the field here and what we're trying to help people get motivated for? Dr. Legate, you want to start
Okay.
this one off?
Yeah. I was hoping for a minute there to think on that one. I would just say, once you experience a positive benefit, that is such a motivational launcher. So just trying to try MLT, just to try it, to experience for yourself what we're talking about is key, right? Because you can listen to people talk all day, and until you have a realization of potential benefit, I think that's the thing that'll lock it in.
Yeah. Rachel, anything you'd like that?
Yeah. And I just think, just giving the motivation, creating a lifestyle in a relationship really starts with you first. It's really about you. It's not about what your friends are doing or your family or, the society around you. It's about you, and you need to feel healthy and strong to really, optimize your quality of life. So I think something like Try MLT, is a great tool to incorporate. But also just, creating that healthy lifestyle, those eating habits, a great, exercise program in your life. I think it all is well-rounded and really helps optimize your quality of life.
I love that. Look, for me, my take with the, I'm a ferocious eater. And if anybody knows me, that they know that if eating was a sport, I'd be a gold medalist. So, I love to eat. I love to work hard, train hard and play hard. But what I've noticed in my journey since getting on the product is that the relationship with food and myself are getting better morning and evening. And those are my stress points, where I want to eat in the morning and I want to eat in the evening. Through the afternoons, I have no problem. But those two key times, doing fasted cardio in the morning, when I'm done, I want to eat something. Doing lifting at night, when I'm done, I want to eat something again. But managing the amount of calories I'm intaking and intaking the proper macros for my goal is helping me get to the place where I want to be. So I really thank both of you for coming on and sharing your experiences and expertise with our New You Life family here on the Pulse podcast. And I'm looking forward to future conversations regarding health, wellness, and hormones.
Me too.
Me too.
So thank you guys very much. I hope you have an outstanding day, and we will see you next time on the Pulse podcast.
Thanks so much for tuning into this episode of the New You Life Pulse podcast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. Also, for more information, please visit our website, newyoulife.com. Thanks again for listening, and we'll catch you in the next episode of the New You Life Pulse podcast.